It's one of those Hollywood rumors that seem too wild to be true, but the evidence piling up suggests this might be more than idle gossip. From cryptic interactions on set to million-dollar lawsuits, the story swirling around Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and Justin Baldoni has everyone on edge, wondering who to believe. Are we looking at a casual misunderstanding that spun out of control, or could there be a real spark behind these whispers of a love triangle? By the end of this, you might find yourself questioning everything you thought you knew about picture-perfect Hollywood romances. The whispers began when Blake and Justin teamed up for the film adaptation of a steamy novel. On the surface, it seemed like a dream pairing. Both are charismatic, both are known for throwing themselves into their work, and both have a history of drawing serious buzz whenever they appear on screen. But there's a twist. Rumor has it that the on-set chemistry may have spilled over into real life, causing friction in Blake's marriage to Ryan Reynolds. That alone would get the tabloids buzzing, but the story didn't stop there. Strange claims about intimacy coordinators, alleged attempts to control production, and even a lawsuit involving the New York Times all came tumbling out at once. It's become a labyrinth of accusations, and each side insists the other is at fault. Not everyone bought into the rumors at first. Blake and Ryan have long been considered Hollywood's golden couple, celebrated for their playful banter and squeaky clean image. Justin, meanwhile, is widely admired for his role in championing women's stories, both in his acting projects and in the books he's chosen to adapt. Yet the chatter only grew louder when a few puzzling details surfaced around the production of It Ends With Us. According to some insiders, Blake went above and beyond to craft intimate scenes that felt authentic, even down to selecting her own costumes, sometimes straight from her personal closet. She's been open in past interviews about how clothing helps her become her character, so it wasn't entirely shocking to see her take a hands-on approach. Still, some found it odd that she reportedly requested an intimacy coordinator, then allegedly refused that same coordinator's guidance. When Justin later commented that Blake had taken the reins herself, people began to wonder if there was more to the story. But that wasn't the whole story. It soon emerged that Blake had once praised the novel's romantic tension, saying she could genuinely feel her character's conflicting emotions on the page. This alone wouldn't raise eyebrows, except Blake has publicly admitted she doesn't morph into someone entirely different when she acts. Instead, she plays characters in a way that feels personal, almost like she's just amplifying pieces of herself. If that approach led her to connect deeply with the character's intense relationship on screen, who's to say it didn't stir up feelings off camera too? People began pointing to her earlier interviews, especially ones where she joked about how important romance is in her life. She loves the grand gestures, the subtle glances, the butterflies of new love. So if Justin embodied that romantic ideal while playing his irresistibly charming role, the sparks might have flown. Before fans could fully digest this possibility, more rumors surfaced, pointing to a pattern in Blake's past. After all, she once dated Penn Badgley while working on Gossip Girl, and many believe that relationship took root because the chemistry they displayed as Serena and Dan was more than just acting. Later, while filming Green Lantern, Blake became involved with Ryan Reynolds, although at the time, he was famously still married to Scarlett Johansson. Even if that romance didn't officially blossom until after Ryan's divorce, plenty of people believe the lines may have blurred long before they went public. And for those who like connecting dots, there's also chatter about her on-set dynamic with Ben Affleck during The Town when he was still with Jennifer Garner. Although nothing concrete ever surfaced, those stories about Blake and Ben being unusually cozy made headlines. Couple all that with the rumor that she might have developed feelings for Justin, and you have a narrative that practically writes itself, one where Blake repeatedly finds love on set, even when circumstances are complicated. However, the new situation with Justin didn't just breed tabloid headlines. It escalated into a legal war, with both Blake and Justin lawyering up. According to Blake, something went very wrong behind the scenes, prompting her to file a complaint in late 2024 that accused Justin and certain members of the production of harassment and retaliation. She claimed she expected support from the studio but was left to handle uncomfortable, even humiliating experiences on her own. Suddenly, the rumor mill had a new angle. It wasn't just about a possible fling, but about serious allegations of inappropriate behavior on set. The fact that the complaint also mentions stress, lost opportunities, and an apparent smear campaign only fanned the flames. Blake's critics, though, pointed to her alleged history of behind-the-scenes entanglements, suggesting she was twisting a complicated personal dynamic into a bigger scandal. And what happened next would shock everyone. Justin fired back almost immediately with a $400 million countersuit. He accused Blake of defamation, insisted her claims were baseless, and stated that he had concrete proof, such as behind-the-scenes footage and text messages, to show he was innocent. Complicating matters further, Justin also filed a massive claim against the New York Times for what he deemed to be biased coverage favoring Blake. Now, we had a full-blown feud that dragged in not only Hollywood watchers but mainstream media outlets as well. Each day seemed to bring a new piece of leaked evidence or an explosive allegation. One moment, people were convinced Justin was the villain, and the next moment, previously unseen footage suggested Blake might have orchestrated certain scenes to appear more incriminating for him than they truly were. Through it all, Ryan Reynolds found himself in a precarious position. He's known for his witty online presence and protective nature when it comes to his family. The rumors of Blake straying with a co-star, whether true or not, would naturally provoke intense emotion. Some reports claim Ryan visited the set more often than usual, keeping an eye on how intimate scenes were managed. Others say he confronted Justin after hearing secondhand comments about Blake's weight or postpartum physique, though there's no consensus about what was actually said. Indeed, a few of those rumored spats might be nothing more than tall tales spread by gossips seeking a juicy storyline. Yet the lawsuits and countersuits are undeniably real, and that alone has left everyone wondering how far things actually went behind the scenes. What really raised eyebrows was the suggestion that Blake might have tried to manipulate the film's production for her own advantage. One theory claims that, frustrated by Justin's reluctance to feed into her alleged flirtations, she used her star power and close ties with Ryan, Taylor Swift, and other big names to pressure the studio. The rumor is that she threatened to withhold promotional support unless she was given more say in editing and marketing decisions, effectively pushing Justin out of the spotlight on a project he'd poured his heart into from the beginning. Some say the author of the original novel, Colleen Hoover, initially sided with Justin, praising his vision and his dedication to adapting her work. Then, at some point, Colleen appeared to switch allegiances, going so far as to publicly support Blake's claims of misconduct. The sudden shift left fans puzzled. Was Colleen genuinely appalled by Justin's actions, or had Blake won her over behind the scenes? Before anyone could get to the bottom of that question, even more shocking material leaked: text messages, voice notes, and unofficial footage from the set. In some clips, watchers claimed, you could see Blake guiding Justin through highly charged scenes, encouraging him to maintain closeness well after the director called cut. In others, her tone toward him was described as playful, almost flirty. This contrasted sharply with certain parts of her complaint, which described Justin's behavior as making her uncomfortable and unsafe. Supporters of Justin used this discrepancy to label Blake as manipulative, while Blake's defenders countered that those selective leaks were misleading. They insisted context was missing. Perhaps that flirtatious tone was part of a rehearsal, or maybe it was an attempt to normalize the tension so the actual filming could proceed smoothly. Of course, none of that has been confirmed in court, but these conflicting narratives only fueled the tabloids further. But that wasn't the end of the speculation. If you rewind through Blake's history, you'll find she's someone who excelled at living a charmed life from a young age. Rumor has it that her father pulled strings to ensure she got standout solos in her childhood choir, and she's openly stated that she sees romance everywhere and thrives in environments that let her channel that side of herself. Now, put that personality in a high-pressure setting, fresh off having her fourth child, working opposite a handsome co-star known for fully immersing himself in romantic roles. Some folks argue it was the perfect storm. Blake might have craved that thrilling on-set spark, even if only momentarily. But when Justin didn't reciprocate, or perhaps when she sensed he was pulling back to maintain professional distance, frustration may have turned into resentment. Not everyone buys the idea that she was spurned. Some observers suspect that she was simply trying to elevate her performance and that the intimate, hands-on approach was a method to capture the authenticity needed for the film. They question whether Justin misconstrued her dedication as something more personal, leading to confusion and tension that spilled over into the rest of the shoot. Regardless of how the drama really began, it escalated to a point where lawsuits were filed and both parties are now locked in a battle to preserve their reputations. As the lawsuits went public, new revelations about hush-hush negotiations and private deals came pouring in. Blake's team accused Justin of dragging her name through the mud, damaging her credibility, and potentially costing her future projects. Justin's side fired back by alleging that she effectively hijacked the production and manipulated the narrative to paint him as a villain. It's a high-stakes battle in every sense. For Blake, who has built a reputation on being America's sweetheart, uncontroversial, witty, family-oriented, a scandal of this magnitude could reshape her entire career trajectory. For Justin, a champion of women's stories and a figure admired by many for his empathetic approach, these allegations threaten to undermine everything he stands for. Even more intriguing is how these legal skirmishes pull back the curtain on Hollywood's murky underbelly. For years, people have whispered that the industry's glittery facade hides power plays, last-minute deals, behind-the-scenes manipulations, and less-than-ethical marketing strategies. With the Blake-Justin situation, it's all out in the open. If one side is lying, it could prove that big names feel emboldened to weaponize public opinion when they sense their brand is at risk. If the other side is lying, it would show how easily a person's past activism and good reputation can be turned upside down by a determined accuser. Either way, it's a cautionary tale about how complicated and messy movie-making can become when personal emotions, corporate interests, and star power collide. Of course, we can't forget the impact on Ryan Reynolds. On one hand, if he truly suspects something inappropriate happened between Blake and Justin, that would put enormous strain on their marriage. On the other hand, if it turns out Blake was largely innocent, Ryan could be standing by her side as she fights to protect her name from a barrage of fabricated or exaggerated accusations. Then there's the third possibility. They might be uniting for strategic reasons, perhaps to minimize further damage to their family and keep the brand of Blake and Ryan as unscathed as possible. Whichever angle you choose, it's hard to imagine the ordeal not affecting their relationship in some way. When the dust settles, they'll have to pick up the pieces, one way or another. All eyes now turn to potential court dates, depositions, and the possibility of mediation behind closed doors. Some insiders believe the parties might settle, given that a trial could produce even more embarrassing details. Others say this has become too personal and that neither side is willing to bend. The mere fact that multiple lawsuits have been filed, targeting not just individuals but also major media outlets, shows how far each faction is prepared to go in defending their side of the story. For fans, it's like watching a high-stakes chess match, except the pieces are real people with real careers and reputations on the line. By now, you might be wondering where we go from here. As of this moment, the drama shows no signs of cooling off. One week, leaked text messages emerge, casting doubt on Blake's version of events. The next week, an interview resurfaces where Justin says something that can be interpreted a dozen different ways. Headlines scream about smear campaigns and cryptic receipts, while social media flutters with polarized opinions. Some commenters compare Blake to an Amber Heard 2.0, calling her manipulative and accusing her of weaponizing the legal system. Others insist that Justin is masking predatory behavior behind his good guy image. In truth, no one outside these two camps, and possibly a few key witnesses, knows the full story. It's a puzzle with missing pieces, and each new revelation only makes it more complex. In a town where image is everything, the stakes couldn't be higher. Blake risks losing the public's trust, which she worked hard to earn through years of relatable interviews and carefully curated social media posts. Justin, too, faces the potential loss of credibility as a champion for women if the allegations stick. Even the author, Colleen Hoover, hasn't escaped unscathed. Her shifting stance between praising Justin in private and apparently siding with Blake in public has thrown her own reputation for authenticity into question. And if this dispute continues to spiral, the very film that started it all could end up overshadowed by legal drama, overshadowing the original story that fans loved so much. Whether the two parties reach a settlement or press forward until a jury decides, one thing is certain. This saga has already changed how the public sees them. For some, Blake Lively will remain the bright, charming actress married to Ryan Reynolds, whose rumored flirtations are easily forgiven as media exaggerations. For others, Justin Baldoni will continue to be the thoughtful star who got blindsided by a vendetta. But for the rest of us, the story is far from resolved, and each new rumor only twists the narrative further. Will the courts reveal concrete evidence that flips our understanding of everything so far? Or will this become one of those Hollywood scandals that eventually fades away, leaving behind only murmurs of what if, and we'll never really know the truth? Time will tell whether any side can make a convincing case that forever settles these rumors. Until that moment, the story remains unfinished, a cliffhanger in real time. Maybe you'll side with Blake, seeing her as a woman who stood up for herself when she felt cornered. Maybe you'll side with Justin, who says he's simply trying to protect himself from manufactured claims. Perhaps you'll keep an open mind, recognizing that the full truth might be lost in the swirl of Hollywood sensationalism. Regardless, this controversy has pulled back the curtain on just how complicated, and yes, often scandalous, Tinseltown can be when personal relationships and professional obligations collide. So what do you think? Are the rumors of a hidden affair just an overblown tale from the rumor mill? Or could there be something deeper behind every lawsuit, leaked message, and contradictory testimony? Keep your eyes on the headlines because this is the kind of Hollywood drama that doesn't fade quietly. And while none of us can say with certainty how it will end, one thing is sure: the fallout might rewrite everything you thought you knew about even the most picture-perfect love stories.